Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, The Day in Her Life. Well, I think I've told everybody that I got a box set of The Crown a few months ago, and I've been watching them when I have a chance to. The last episode I saw had Philip jealous of the friendship between Elizabeth and her childhood friend named Porchey. The scene had Elizabeth saying, "I have nothing to hide from you. Porchey is a friend," she tells her husband, and yes, there are those who would have preferred me to marry him. Indeed, marriage with him might have been easier, might have even worked better than ours. But to everyone's regret and frustration, the only person I have ever loved is you. So that got me wondering, what happened? Why was there talk that there was something going on between her and her friend? And so let's find out more about Porchey. Porchey, his real name was Henry George Reginald Molyneux Herbert Lord Porchester, a childhood friend of the Queen, according to the Telegraph, and he got that nickname when he was a child. According to Elle.com, he was born at Highclere Castle, best known as the setting for Downton Abbey, to the 6th Earl of Carnarvon in 1924. Porchey's father was such good friends with the Queen's uncle, Edward, the Duke of Windsor, that he was asked to intervene before he abdicated. The Queen reportedly visited Highclere several times in her life. So Porchey, he ran in aristocratic circles, and his family was close to the royals. He was in the Royal Horse Guards in World War II, and he would escort the then Princess Elizabeth to social events. So Porchey and Princess Elizabeth met in 1944 when she was 17 and he was 20, according to the Telegraph. His father, who was also called Porchey, knew the king at the time, Elizabeth's father, and thought, "I might be the kind of chap to accompany the princess to the races," Lord Porchester once told the royal biographer Giles Brindrith, per the Telegraph. And I'm glad he did. We hit it off at once. An interesting fact was that he later became her dancing partner, and he was even with her when she and her younger sister, Princess Margaret, snuck out to join a VE Day celebration outside Buckingham Palace. According to Harper'sBazaar.com, Porchey said, "We were mixed up in the crowd," and he told the English author Sarah Bradford, "No one recognized Princess Elizabeth or Princess Margaret, and we went round up to Whitehall, up Piccadilly, into the Ritz Hotel, and I used to have a little room there, and back through Hyde Park Corner, down the mall." And Porchey himself revealed, "Her Majesty is my lifelong friend." He was furious when the romance rumors first began to fly, and he said he was ready to defend her to the last, and no doubt a source of strength when Philip's restless frustrations left her feeling exposed. And they shared a love of horses. Queen Elizabeth loved horses, and they were what made her tick. And Prince Philip, he loved equestrian sports, but he wasn't obsessed with horses like Elizabeth was. So the Queen owned, bred, trained, and raced horses, and she would be in touch with trainees early and on weekends and visited to Windsor to see the horses in action. No one other than the family enjoyed the same kind of intimacy with the Queen, and he was one of the few people who had Her Majesty's mobile phone number and called her almost every day with hot horse news, often holding up the phone at bloodstock sales when he was bidding on her behalf so she could hear the action. In the late 60s, Porchey helped the Queen revamp her breeding strategy, and in 1970 she made him racing manager. The two visited Normandy together in 1967 to explore techniques, and there was never any romance between them. And most of the time, his wife would accompany them on trips. And they had other interests in their friendship. Porchey's son George said they were from the same generation. They had been through the war. They shared a great love of the countryside and wildlife as well as horses. Whether they were walking at Sandringham, Highclere, or in Scotland, it was always a great obsession. He added that his father and the Queen would often have lively discussions about horse breeding and racing, and it became a key part of their week. So Porchey married Wyoming native Jean Margaret Wallop in 1956, and they had 2 sons and a daughter. And Queen Elizabeth befriended Jean, who went by Jeannie, and even visited her family's ranch in Wyoming. The Queen is godmother to the couple's oldest son, George. Despite Wallop's American home base, she comes from one of the few families of British origin that could trace its ancestry with an unbroken line to the Anglo-Saxon era and the times of Alfred the Great. Porchey's death. Porchey died September of 2001 at the age of 77. He had a heart attack. His wife, Jeannie, died in 2019. Although the Queen rarely attended funerals for people outside of the family, she attended both the Count and the Countess's funerals, and that shows what a close friendship she had with Porchey and his wife. And according to Ranker.com, when Porchey passed on September 11, 2001, the Queen's grief was compounded by the astonishing events in the United States on the same day. In a statement issued by the Queen a few days later, after the September 11th attack, she wrote, "These are dark and harrowing times for family and friends of those who are missing or who suffered in the attack. Nothing that can be said can begin to take away the anguish and the pain of these moments. Grief is the price we pay for love." As much as more emotional statement than her subjects were used to, the Queen channeled her personal grief for the larger loss of life and her heartbreak over the passing of her dear friend. So Queen Elizabeth was a woman dedicated to her country and her family, and the day she met Philip, she decided he was the only man for her. So friendship and her love of animals, and especially horses, was something she needed to cope with the stress of the job. So it was great that she had such a good friendship with Porchey. They both shared so many interests, and they had so much to talk about, like great friendships do. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be appreciated. And also click on the bell if you want to be notified when a new video comes out. I wish everybody a good day, and tune in again soon for Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.